It's a disease that affects 1 in 10 women. There's no cure and no effective treatment. So 3 out of 4 women with endometriosis get surgery. Half those surgeries are hysterectomies. 1 out of 3 women are using opioids to manage their pain. It's just, for patients, it's a desperate situation.
Wow. It's Tony Zhang here. I'm founder of Sbur Decision Lab. We feature entrepreneurs, their stories, and decision making to help you make smarter decisions and achieve success. Enjoy this episode. Hi, Mark.
Hey,
good to see you again.
Hey, Tony. Great to see you.
Are you ready for today's pitch?
All set. I'm excited. There's nothing better than telling the story.
Wonderful. So what is the story?
Well, the story is SLBST Pharma, we are working to effectively manage endometriosis pain.
Oh, endometrial pain. What is that?
Yeah, so endometriosis, huge problem. It's a disease that affects 1 in 10 women. So there's no cure and no effective treatment. So 3 out of 4 women with endometriosis get surgery. Half those surgeries are hysterectomies. 1 out of 3 women are using opioids to manage their pain. It's just, for patients, it's a desperate situation.
Wow, it sounded really bad situation for women to manage in terms of their health. So can you share with us how you decided to work on this particular problem?
Yeah, in part it was opportunity. So one of my fellow co-founders identified the opportunity. He was working on a consulting project, was down at the technology transfer office at the University of South Florida. And a researcher had studied this problem a decade ago. The university had filed patents, and so we ended up licensing the patents. And what the decision to get involved, we looked at it, we said, gee, this is a step forward in patient care. It's something that will revolutionize treatment of the disease. So it was just impressed by the science, impressed by the potential for impact, and impressed by the potential to benefit millions of women who have no alternative today.
Wow, it does sound like it solves a big problem. So can you share with me, during this journey, what was the toughest decision you had to make and how you made that decision?
There's so many decisions that entrepreneurs make. You make the best decision you can make at the time, and sometimes you find out a year later, 2 years, 3 years later that you would have been better taking another direction. You live with where you are today, and you make the best decision you can based on where you are today. You asked the question, I'm thinking of 2 or 3 different things. We brought on a very high-priced regulatory consultant early in the process. They weren't as expert as they claimed to be. And ultimately, through a referral from a trusted colleague, found someone who was much more effective, someone who had tenure in our space, had essentially done what we needed to do in the past, and they charged a fraction of what the initial company did. So we could have saved tens of thousands of dollars. And for an entrepreneur, saving $1,000 is a big deal. Tens of thousands is...
It's not a small sum of money.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah. So looking back at the decision point, before you were going to hire this consultant, if you were going to hire this individual today, how would you assess the expertise of an individual? In other words, how would you make your decision differently?
Back to what I said, you make the best decision you can in the moment. You bring all the resources to bear. You make the best decision you can, and you don't worry about it. Nobody makes perfect decisions.
No.
And no company runs according to plan. And what separates a successful from an unsuccessful entrepreneur is being able to recover from a decision that threw you off track, or a market that evolves differently than what you expect, the technology. It's not about making perfect decisions all the time. It's about iterating and making better decisions each day.
That is so true. We got to iterate and reiterate and course correct, and ultimately we'll start to move things forward in a direction we would like to move them to.
Good evening. I'm Mark Connell. I am the co-founder and president of SLBST Pharma. We are working to effectively end endometriosis pain. Endometriosis is a huge problem. broadly prevalent, there's no cure, and there are no effective therapies. 3 out of 4 women with endometriosis get surgery. Half those surgeries are hysterectomies. 1 out of 3 women with endometriosis are using opioids to manage their pain. 1 in 8 women are in chemically induced menopause that's stealing their bone density. Our solution is to use a known immunomodulator, a drug called hydroxychloroquine. HCQ is the first-line therapy for lupus. 87% of lupus patients use it on a long-term basis. In endometriosis, hydroxychloroquine reduces pain by normalizing the chronic inflammation that drives the pathology of endometriosis. It also inhibits lesion formation by reducing autophagy. In preclinical data, we see a 60% reduction in the number of lesions. Turning to human data on these slides, we see that women with endometriosis who take hydroxychloroquine use 68% fewer opioids. We also see that lupus patients who do not take hydroxychloroquine are twice as likely to develop endometriosis. 1 in 10 women with endo translates into a TAM of 7 million women of reproductive age. 4 million women have a clinical diagnosis. We believe we can serve half that, so 2 million patients in our TAM, with a wholesale market value of $6 billion. We've talked before about the shortcomings in the existing therapies. Nevertheless, payers are spending $10,000 to $20,000 a year to provide these ineffective therapies to patients. There are a number of potential therapies that are being developed. However, all of these drugs, all these therapies are untested, and they're a decade or more from coming to market. In contrast, SLBST will be in the market in 5 to 6 years. We're fully de-risked. We've demonstrated reductions in pain, disease modification, and based on decades of safety data, we are fully fertility friendly. We can protect against generic competitors because we've got issued method of use patents. We can protect against off-label competition because we've reformulated the drug so that it's something called non-AB rated. That means it can't be substituted out at the pharmacy level. We've got a strong team to move the program forward. The 3 founders on the top row all have decades of experience in the pharma world. Our clinical team comprises 2 noted clinician researchers. What we're looking to do is a proof of concept study that will generate prospective efficacy data. We're looking to do a trial with 100 patients in a foreign location where we can move quickly and cost effectively. We've raised $600,000 to date. We've run, $600,000 to date is friends and family money. We've got 2 pre-INDs and a green light from FDA to move forward with a phase 2 trial. We're raising, as I said, $2 million for this proof of concept study. We can be in the market within 5 years. And I invite you to join us as we work to bring relief to the millions of women suffering from this terrible disease. Thank you.
Now you have heard the story and the investor pitch. Where are you on your startup journey? What decisions are you wrestling with? Comment below or take a quick survey and we'll let you know right away how investor ready you are.